Ukraine spies tried to ensnare alleged Russian war criminals with a fake website. Promises of riches and an international sting. It was less than 2 weeks before Belarus presidential election last year, and authorities suspected that the outsiders had been sent from Russia to interfere. The men were indeed part of a mission. But the target was not Belarus, and they were not under orders from any Russian entity. They were being set up. The 32, along with one other man detained in southern Belarus, were the target of an elaborate intelligence sting by Ukraine, with the knowledge and alleged support of the United States. That bait was taken by hundreds of would-be Russian contractors who applied for work, the sources said, giving Ukrainian intelligence an unprecedented opportunity to begin to identify and reel in those suspected of war crimes. And then they started to reveal things about themselves, sending us documents, military IDs and proof of where they'd fought. And we are, like, bingo, we can use that, the source added. In other words, according to the intelligence officers, the targets themselves started to send in evidence of who they were, their military experience and even the particular battles and incidents in which they had been involved, including IDs, and potentially incriminating photos and videos of their exploits in eastern Ukraine and elsewhere. Other applicants linked themselves to the attack on MH17, the Malaysian Airlines flight from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur that was shot down in July 2014 over Ukrainian territory controlled by pro-Russian separatists. All 298 people aboard the aircraft died. A Dutch-led team of international prosecutors said the plane was downed by a missile brought in from Russia and fired from a village controlled by separatists. Russia has denied any involvement. Identifying and punishing these people was of high interest to us, he added. It was apparently of interest to US intelligence too, although US officials deny having a direct role. According to the Ukrainian intelligence officials, the Ukrainian-led operation got US cash, technical assistance and advice from the CIA on how to draw the Russian mercenaries in. He indicated US intelligence was aware of the operation but denied any involvement. The official, who requested anonymity as he was not authorized to speak publicly, suggested efforts to implicate US agencies may be an attempt to share, or even pass, blame for what was a high-risk Ukrainian operation that went wrong. With their website recruitment ruse going undetected, Ukrainian intelligence officials simply picked those men with the closest and most controversial links to Ukraine and offered them the fake Venezuela contracts, the sources said. They picked 28 Russians allegedly linked to illegal apps in Ukraine and 5 more without connections to allay any suspicions. They said the coronavirus pandemic threw an unexpected wrench in the plan when Russia closed its borders to stop the spread of COVID-19. Moscow did, however, continue to permit travel to its neighbor and ally Belarus. According to the Ukrainian sources, the unwitting recruits were transported overland to Minsk by bus, from where they thought they would soon depart for Venezuela. But once in Minsk, there was a delay. The recruits were told it would be a few days before they could leave and were moved to the Belorusochka Sanatorium, a discreet Soviet-era health resort set on a tranquil reservoir 15 minutes outside the capital, where, the sources said, it was hoped they could remain undetected. The burly mercenaries at the spa that promises comfort and coziness amid the absence of city fuss and everyday worries seemed incongruous if not suspicious, one staffer remembered. At the time, some suspected Russian involvement. In dramatic scenes, broadcast on Belarusian state TV, the arrested men were paraded on screen, and their identification documents shown as evidence of their Russian military backgrounds. We got confirmed until these Russians had real combat experience and actually took part in armed conflicts, an unnamed, heavily disguised Belarusian police commander revealed on state TV. The Kremlin seemed caught off guard too, with its spokesman telling Russian media they did not have complete information about the incident. The Kremlin later denied they had sent the men to interfere in the internal affairs of Belarus. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky got involved too, calling for the extradition of the men to Ukraine during a telephone conversation with Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko just days after the arrests. I hope that all suspects in terrorist activities on the territory of Ukraine will be transferred to us, the prosecution in accordance with the current international legal documents, Zelensky said, according to a readout of the call. A couple of days later, Lukashenko rejected that request. He spoke to Putin and both leaders expressed confidence that the situation will be resolved, a Kremlin statement said. A week on from that call, Russia announced the return of the 32 Russians arrested at the sanatorium. The 33rd man, who was a dual national of Belarus and Russia, State in Belarus. President Zelensky of Ukraine has publicly denied there was a Ukrainian operation, telling Ukrainian TV in June 2021 that his country had been dragged into the issue. I understand that the idea of this operation was the idea of, let's say, other countries, definitely not Ukraine, he said. Ukraine could have brought them to justice and shown that our fight with Russia is serious and that we won't raise our hands in surrender, the source added.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.